Welcome back to the Eric Krown crypto channel. It is the third day, but the first day of the real trading year, starting off with January here. And as with the beginning of any new year, it's very important to analysize what actually happens in the first week, maybe even 2 weeks upon open. So that is why these next couple weeks here are incredibly important. We'll be going over a very specific number that will essentially judge the biases for the next few weeks. That can be confirmed as soon as tomorrow night, actually, and maybe at latest, let's say end of week Friday here. But just kind of start off this whole conversation by explaining why the first week, or maybe even 2 weeks of the new year, is very, very important. Well, it is typically when big money managers will bring money into the market and allocate towards whatever things that they actually wanted to allocate towards. It is especially important for the first quarter of the new year because what typically happens at the end of the year is that big money managers will do tax loss harvesting, and they'll also, let's say, mark things to magic, and so that basically opens up the possibility that whatever we're going to see in the first week, maybe even 2 weeks, like I said, in terms of flows, is going to be very enlightening as to what to expect, probably throughout the rest of the quarter, honestly. Anyways, other than that, I wanted to let you know that we do have a sale going on right now for the new year. It's a new year, a new me, but maybe not. Who knows? New actions equals new me. But over here, of course, if you are interested in any one of the programs or products, I would humbly request that you do watch the promotional videos so that you can get an idea of what they're essentially designed for and if it's relevant to you or not. I could say at the outset, just kind of get rid of a lot of the potential questions. The quant program, which is all the way down here, because I guess this is maybe, I don't know, what is it doing down here? It's the hot one. It's the hot one, baby. That's probably the one that most people are looking at right now. The TA program used to be that, but now it is a quant program. So if you're looking for strategies and you kind of already know your way around an exchange, you already have some experience, that's probably the one that you might be looking for. All right, sweet. So let's start it off right over here. We're gonna once again follow up on the 2-day time frame for CME. This is the stochastic momentum versus volatility signature setup, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And basically, it is this. Well, actually, I won't go through the full explanation of it because basically no one new is on this channel right now, so don't really need to do that. But basically, low volatility plus direction of stochastic oscillator has provided us with these stats over here. Okay, that's about as deep in the explanation as I go to today. And the reason why this is relevant is because we just saw a new 2-day time frame open alongside the first real trading day of the year for CME. And the current the current direction of these stochastic oscillators technically to the upside, although as you can see, it is a very weak cross right there. And more importantly, the next closure, which is not tonight, but tomorrow night for CME, will have the pivot for stochastic momentum at 16,950. That is to say that if Bitcoin is below that number by that time, bears are still in control, probably still at a decent risk of retesting the current lows. If Bitcoin is above that number, basically above 17,000 bucks, that's at the point where I'd say, hey, Bitcoin has the lows in for now. Very likely you're going to see 18,000 next, and then throughout the first quarter, you're probably going to see a number above 20,000 bucks, as these sort of stats will be relevant at that point. Looking for that to kind of play out over the next 3.5 weeks, and on average, this is kind of the moves that we've seen over here. And again, we're talking about statistics. We're not talking about certainties, obviously. This one, particularly for the full history of CME, does have about an 82% strike rate. But keep in mind, there's only been 11 iterations, 9 of which have been, well, good, let's say. Anyways, let's move on now. I want to reference the lower term timeframes over here and a few things of interest. So first and foremost, I believe that we spoke about this maybe end of last week or beginning of this week, and it was the jewel signals that we observed on the 4-hour time frame, even going all the way up to the daily and weekly, which this one can definitely spill on over into. But now that we have seen a nice decent move off the lows from that signal, I should denote that there is, or I should be aware that there is potential hidden bearish divergence building up between the highs that we saw in late December, if you can call those highs, and the potential high that would be put in right here. But of course, this is contingent upon validation of a local high. So where would you actually confirm a local high in this case? Well, you need to come back down and actually close back below about, these These are not relevant for this time frame, nor is this one, but I'll leave it in. But this level right here, 16,500. That's your lights out level, baby, for the 4-hour time frame, I guess. You know, and at that point, probably going to come down, and you're probably going to see that 2-day time frame setup play out with another retest for the current low. So I'm still unwilling to align with one side or the other just yet. My strong opinion is that we will not see any new closing lower lows before Bitcoin trades out and above the top side of this range, which is basically the highs of December right there. So that's kind of like my compelling statement of the day, hopefully, or maybe in some ways, who the hell knows. But as you can see on CME, the daily jewel is starting to get some positive curvature here. It's still not a full-on signal, but it's getting close, and we are observing incredibly low volatility in basically all time frames. So it's not just the 2-day time frame, it's also the daily, it's also all the way up to the weekly as well. Anyways, I'll also explain now why on the lower term time frames, while there is potential hidden bearish divergence, it's actually not what I'm looking for to play out. I do think that things will actually try to the upside from here. And the real question is, does Bitcoin fail or accept above 17,000 bucks? But first we'll actually be going back on over here to the 4-hour jewel. That's a rather powerful one. And then also if we go and reference stochastic momentum, we can see that starting off with the daily stochastic momentum will actually turn to the upside for the first time since basically the December rally. If Bitcoin closes today on CME above 16,620, as of right now, it's trading about 70 bucks above that number, which means fuck all, right? But ultimately, you know, keep that number in mind, because if Bitcoin remains above it, more than likely we do see this one continue to float up into the well, just kind of sideways and up, I'd say. 12-hour time frame is also going to be nice and vertical here with extreme lows on volatility, I should also add, as long as Bitcoin's above 16,370. So kind of building upon the last one, that's a good sign. 6-hour time frame showing upside as long as Bitcoin's above 16,300. Again, very, very low volatility in this case. 4-hour time frame, fucking vertical as long as Bitcoin's above 16,225. And then the hourly is probably down, actually. Yeah, it is flippy floppy down here below 16,720 on CME. So very, very short term, does Bitcoin, maybe oscillate a little bit around here, maybe even retest around Friday's closure at like 16,550. Definitely possible to have a short term downside move, but ultimately, as long as Bitcoin is above 16,500, the lights are still on, baby, and the lights are on. The lights are on, bro. Bro, can't you see that the lights are on right now? Should be long as fuck. No, just kidding. That is not financial advice. I'm just making a flippant joke, hopefully. But ultimately, I would be looking at that as a sign that things are more than likely to try back up towards those numbers. And then the real question is, where does a 2-day close? And probably would close above the $17,000 basic pivot there. If that does happen in the short term. It's just personal opinion, although I'd like to see that actually confirmed. And at that point, we start to look towards much higher targets, I suppose. Anyways, other than that, I'll leave you with this. I want to make this video, again, nice and short and sweet. But just looking at the HPDR indicator over here, the hourly time frame range is actually getting things incredibly accurate as far as what we just spoke about. So if you could just boil all of what I said down into this indicator, it's beautiful. I love it. Basically 16,950 pivot to the upside versus 16,500 pivot to the downside. Yes, I'm rounding off there, of course. And then if we go to the daily, that's probably the range that we expect for, the first few weeks of this month. Again, if Bitcoin does fail, I'm looking somewhere down around 15.8, and I don't think that things will really actually trend too much further below there. You might get wicks below there, yes, but I don't think that you're going to get like significant closing lower lows than that. I still think that worst case scenario here is that we get, or I guess I already have it in there, we get something like this, where it has that initial move to the downside, and then you get that nice spring to the upside. And then, of course, the big one for me is last month's high, basically 18,400. Anywhere above there, and you're extremely likely going to see 20,000 to 21,000 bucks in the following weeks. Cool. All right, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off. Yeah. I think that's about right. I should let you know that we're actually going to be traveling tomorrow, so connection will obviously be limited for pretty much the whole day. Myself and Elsa will pretty much be unreachable until Thursday, and even then we'll probably be recovering a little bit. But we still have other people on the team handling the emails and whatnot. So if you are trying to reach out, understand that, it might take a little bit longer as we get prepared for things. It's kind of hectic right now. But other than that, I want to be wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.